But even back then, when in its early days, it was you gotta figure out the prompt to give to
Yeah.
Google to get the right data back. And I think that's kind of where we're at with AI. Is you still have to be smarter than the AI to tell it
Yeah.
exactly how you need it to go. Otherwise, you're going to get crazy responses like, "Oh, here's exactly what you asked for, but it wasn't," and it does it with confidence. Then I think that's the thing is with AI, it gives you information with confidence and a structure like, hey, this is why it's right, but then it could still be completely wrong. So I think that's the piece that I'm still trying to, you know, adjust with.
Well, I think okay. So from my perspective, I think I think we in previous we spoke. I really
Yeah.
think it's more about automation than automation. I mean, the fact is the way I see it, like for example, ChatGPT, right? It has massive amount of information, different methodology, different theories by different school, different professors, whatnot. Sometimes, like if I'm asking, like how I interact with it, if I'm asking to analyze certain things. I really think the modern day skill for people to use AI correctly is actually be able to, first of all, you have to articulate your question very well so it can understand it. And second, that you need to at certain level, you need to have a holistic idea on what's going on. Like, so for example, like today, if I from ChatGPT to give me some feedback on some strategy stuff, I'll say, okay, please, like, for example, like analyze this with, like, for example, like the SWOT, and also the five forces made up maybe of three, like also maybe analyze it with the disruptive series, stuff like that. And then it can give you a better answer than you just like, hey, ChatGPT, tell me how. So because there's too much information, it's overloaded with different type of information. So I think that ability to articulate your question and also provide kind of like a box as to this is the kind of stuff I want you to look into. I think that would be the kind of skill set we need to have in the future for everybody. Like kind of like the example about I think we talked about this too as well. Like when you write an essay, right? I think I'm not sure about Arizona, but back when I was in high school, we need to pass a written essay exam to graduate from high school. And I think it was like 40 or 50% of the grading was based on spelling and also grammar. So basically, if you can spell well, you can do your grammar well, you just write some BS, you can still pass the class. But nowadays, because you have word processing software, so I mean, grammar and spelling will always be 100%. So you are really graded based on the content, the deliberates. Okay, so I guess it's different. Like I think probably it's really bad to say this, but back in our time, we can probably get away and passing a class even if we write bullshit, as long as we spell it right, have a good grammar. So I think some people say actually the AI actually make the student homework like easier for them to do homework, or some people cheat on homework. But I think in a way I see, since we're in education, so I'll share this. In a way I see actually the teacher need to up their game. The professor need to really look at the content. So I guess in this case, it's like how the students using AI. I mean, does the student understood the material enough to actually give the inquiry to the AI that to articulate the question correctly or utilize all the theories that's available that was taught in class or even more, so it can produce a better output. I was talking with a University of Chicago professor a few months ago. It was actually on the topic of like whether how they were graded. So I actually suggested that perhaps in the future that when you turn in your homework, you need to also provide a transcript of the conversation you had, whether it's with Gemini or ChatGPT. So that actually the professor can look through your interaction with AI and to determine do you really know your shit or not.
Yeah, I think as I have my children now in college, and one who's a 12-year-old now in sixth grade, I see the advantages, and I'm a big proponent of using AI and ChatGPT and other solutions out there to really gain knowledge quicker. And I remember the 2 years ago working with my son when with ChatGPT, I was like, hey, just talk to it, like start using the voice, like talk to it, get it to answer questions, get more in depth so you can learn more about that subject. And he's able to learn quicker through the transaction of communicating with the AI on knowledge on topics that I am not, I don't have much, my head's filled with useless information. But at this point, I can't answer every question, especially in these in the schools nowadays, that the chat GPT and these AI solutions experts in any field. Those they can gather the data, do the research, and get back information that needed. I think one thing that I learned early on when using prompts and using AI was always, every single question should always be, you should always tell the prompt or the agent to say, research, identify any additional questions, answer those questions, and then provide back the feedback. So that way you're giving the AI, the agent, or the tool, the ability to actually go out and research more than you ever would in split seconds, and come back with qualifying additional questions, and then go out and answer those questions, and then come back with the solution. So it's not, don't give me what you first are going to tell me. Go do the research for me very quickly, gather that data, give me the qualifying questions. I could look over the qualifying questions and like, okay, yes, this makes more sense, and dive in depth deeper, quicker. So that's one thing I've learned with the AI, the tools that we have, is you got to prompt it to go out and do more, find more qualifying and dive deeper, and then get back to me. So